everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Maaike. Today we are going to be talking about my top 10 favorite face products, or cheek products I should say, for 2019. I already did like base products with foundations, primers, concealers, those kind of things, and I already did lips for you, but today we are going to be talking about anything bronzer, highlighter, blush. And that is a category in which I try quite a bit. But I definitely have, I think, a couple of favorites that weren't necessarily new to me this year, but that I just love in general, because sometimes you just have those products, you know, that just kind of, that you've had for a while, but that you still end up loving a lot. So that's what this video is going to feature. And for this one, again, I managed to rank my top 10 favorites. I didn't for my base products, but I did for lips. So let's start with number 10. And number 10, I didn't really know where to put this one, but I was like, this is just such an old OG favorite that I don't want to put it anywhere higher up. But over the summertime, I was digging Coralista by Benefit so hard. You want to know how hard? Hitting pan hard. I've never hit pan on a blush before. This is the first time in my life that I hit pan on a blush. I do have to say that this is a blush that's probably one of the oldest ones in my collection, so it was about time. I definitely think that in 2019, I want to pull this back in and see if I can expand the pan a little bit more, possibly use it up at some point, but I just love this shade. It's such a nice everyday, not too peach, not too pink, not too, you know, it's that really good in-between kind of shade. And I'm so glad that by now I decluttered my NARS Orgasm, which I think is very similar to this, but that's just a lot more glittery. I feel this is a lot more wearable. I just love it. I want to buy a backup of this so that if it's gone and they discontinue it, I will still have it. I mean, it took me a good 5 years to hit pan on this thing, so if I have that blush then for another 5 years, that would be fine. But yeah, this is nowhere near gone, I think, because it still has a bunch of product left. So I'm definitely holding off on the buying backup thing, because I don't want to keep too many backups, because I think it's just not useful. Another OG favorite is at the bottom of this list on number 9, and that is the Solar Powder Bronzer by Soap & Glory. This is one of my favorite bronzers to wear in the springtime, and mine is looking so worse for wear. This used to have like, it has like the letters Soap & Glory, like the S and G and Boss on it. This is completely flat. And I'm not sure if you can see, but this side here, the lighter side, has a dent. So if I had to choose a bronzer to try and hit pan on anytime, then this may be it. But I found that this is starting to develop a little bit of hard pan over on this side. Doesn't seem to be too drastic. I think I can still use this. And this is just such a stunning bronzer. It's from the drugstore. It may be a bit harder to find if you're in mainland Europe, because Soap & Glory makeup is not sold everywhere. You will have to find Boots. I think there are certain places in the US where they sell Soap & Glory makeup, so you can check it out then as well. This is such a stunning bronzer. And it's one of the first like drugstore bronzers I ever found that worked on me, because most of them were too orange. It just didn't look good. And this does. So I'm so happy with like having found this still till this day that it had to make an appearance. Towards the end of the year, Essence came out with some new products as well for their fall winter collection. And part of that was this highlighter. It's simply called the highlighter, and I'm putting it in my number 8 spot. This is in the shade Heroic. I think there are a couple of other shades, and I went in hard on this last October. I mean, this is such a basic highlighter. Like, it's just a really good bog standard shade. It's just a champagne. But this, I mean, it's so small that when I traveled in October, it was perfect to throw in my makeup bag, because it's just that small. And this was like €3, maybe less. And it like outperforms some of my high-end highlighters. Like, Essence, doing a great job. I have seen on the website though that this is going to be discontinued for spring summer. So if you can still find this, make sure you grab it. If you're in the Netherlands, they're going to be replacing a lot of products I saw. So if I have to trust that website, because it seems to be very badly organized. So I'm not sure if it's right, but if it's right, then this will be disappearing soon, over here at least. In the number 7 spot, I wanted to put this bronzer that is currently in my Shop My Stash. This is the Becca Sunlit bronzer in Bali Sands. And I've been trying some like more glowy bronzers this year. Well, glowy cheek products in general is a bit of a theme here, you could say. But this is such a nice bronzer. I believe Kelly Gooch said that this was a dupe for the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. And I think it has a very similar sort of feel to it. But this does a little bit extra for me. It's just a little bit more easy to blend. It's just... I love this. There's a reason why I put this in a Shop My Stash for the 2nd time this year. Because it's just great. And for the winter time, it's nice, light. It also is quite sheer, so you never look overly bronzed. This is one of those bronzers that you can just slap on and you don't have to worry about it. Love it. But I wouldn't be me if I didn't also like some drugstore products. So in my number 6 spot is the Catrice Clean ID Mineral Bronzer with SPF. And this comes in like cardboard packaging, and it doesn't have a magnet, but it has an elastic. I think they were also trying to be more environmentally friendly with the packaging on this. This is the first time, you guys, that Catrice did a bronzer that works for me. Yay! All of their bronzers in the past have been way too orange, like just way too dark, way too orange, just not fair skin friendly. And this one is. This is in the shade light medium, and as you can see, this has a yellow undertone. And I love yellow undertoned bronzers on my complexion. I don't know what it is about them, but I have a few, and they are some of my favorites, which is why this had to be in the number 6 spot, because I'm just over the moon that Catrice, one of my favorite drugstore brands, has finally figured out how to do a good bronzer for fair skin. Yay! Time for the top 5. In the top 5, again, quite a new product actually. I picked this up over the summer. This is the Too Faced Berries and Bubbly Fruit Cocktail Blush Duo. And this, again, has that very fruity scent, but this is such a stunning blush. And it has sort of like a more like highlighter-y version, and then it has a glowy blush, but I just like swirling my brush in both of these shades and then apply it. This side does have some noticeable sparkle that you can also see sitting on your face. And while I never like that, I don't know why. I'm really, like, I used to be like matte blush only, but I'm liking a bit of glow, like a lot of glow in my cheek products nowadays, and this was just lovely. I loved this little blush, and I would like to get some more from this line, but they all seem to be quite dark shades. This is the lightest one they do, and it's also quite neutral. Everything else is like bright pink, bright orange, like great for deeper skin tones, but I feel that Too Faced needs to work on shades in this range that could work for fairer skins. So in terms of like glowy blushes, I also picked up a couple of things towards the end of the year, but I haven't used them enough, and I'm still very much intrigued as well by that Cover FX duos that everybody's been going on about. Like, I definitely want to try some of those as well, but I think it all seems to be doing something similarly to this, and I'm just loving it. I think the most recent product in this list is going to be my number 4 spot, and it's a highlighter by Benefit. This is again in my Stop My Stash for the 2nd month in a row, because I just loved it so much. This is the Kokie highlighter, and I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm like with these Benefit products, it's sometimes quite hard, but you can see I'm wearing this down so much. It's what I'm wearing on my face today. I just love it. I just love it. This is so duper duper shiny though, and like the Too Faced one, I feel this has a bit of noticeable sparkle in it that only shows up in certain lighting. I find that in the bathrooms at work, I can see it, but then when I'm behind my desk, I don't. So it really depends on what kind of lighting hits you. I do want to point out that if you wear this to a candlelit dinner, you'll probably end up like looking like a disco ball. I'm just saying. I think in like lower lighting, it shows up a bit better, like sparkly, but in daylight it just looks like a metallic highlighter. It's super intense. It comes in 2 shades. I think the other one is called Twinkle, but this is like, it's not too pink, it's not too champagne, it's not too icy, but it's still like glow, and I just love this on my fair skin. It's super lovely. Time for our top 3, and top 3 I had to feature this bronzer by the Balm. I think this is my most used bronzer of the year, and this is the Take Home the Bronze bronzer in the shade Oliver. I mean the packaging is getting absolutely grubby, and it has, like, it just goes down like this. So again, like the Soap and Glory, if there's going to be a bronzer that I could potentially pan, it may be this one. How much product do you get in here? Oh, 7 grams, so it's not too much. But yeah, this has been, like, this is the kind of bronzer I can reach for the entire year. Like the Becca one, I feel wintertime is best for it. The Soap and Glory one is like springtime, but this can work in the summertime, this can work in the wintertime, this can work year round for me. And again, undertones, very important in bronzer. It's a bit more yellow, and this also comes in more shades than, like, the Soap and Glory one has just 1 shade. The Becca one I think has 5, this comes in 3. I just love this bronzer, and there are quite a few bronzers compared to like blush and highlighter in this. And that's because bronzer was where it was at for me in 2019. I tried so many new bronzers because I find as well that a lot of brands are now doing bronzers that cater to lighter skin. Very often bronzer only came in like 1 or 2 shades, and they were always too dark, which is just not helpful when you're fair like me. And I feel that a lot of brands are finally making their way towards the lighter end of the spectrum and making good bronzer shades for fairer people. And that's why I wanted to feature quite a few of them in here. But my top 2 favorite products are blushes, and they are both from the drugstore as well. Number 2, I would say, is the Catrice Blush Box Glowing Multicolor in the shade Dolce Vita. I could have featured their plummy shade, which is called It's Wine O'Clock, in this too, but this, towards the end of summer when this came out, I wore this a ton. It's very similar to like a more peachy version of Coralista, I would say. So this was just so stunning. It reminds me a lot of Milani's Luminoso, which is one of my only like peach blushes that I really like, because I don't like peach blush on me, but in the summertime, this is lovely. I like the other shade more this time of the year, but this is a lovely blush. The only problem I have with it is that there's no closure to this. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but I already dug my nail into it a little bit here because of the packaging just opening it up on me, which was lovely. But drum roll please, my number 1 favorite cheek product of 2019. We have some Essence. I have heard people raving about Essence blushes for such a long time, and because Essence just, you know, it's a bit cheap, it's a bit, sometimes I just hadn't really found anything that I really liked by them. So Essence used to do these Satin Touch blushes that everybody has been raving about for a long time, but the shade of that just wasn't quite right for me, and it came in 2 shades, I think, but they were very similar to one another, so it didn't make a lot of sense to me. But then they started doing these, the Matte Touch blushes, and this came in like the perfect mauve shade. This is in the shade Blossom Me Up, and this is like one of those like boring, doesn't really show up on your skin kind of blushes, but on my fair skin, something like this just works really well. It's less than €3, and again, like the highlighter, I've seen that they may be discontinuing this by the end of January, so I'm a bit sad because it's just lovely. It used to have a bit of a star print, which has already worn off, because again, this is a product that I just used a ton this year. And it's just, I now get the hype on Essence blushes. I totally get it. So there you have it. Those are my top 10 favorite face products, cheek products for like bronzer, blush, and highlight. This is one of my favorite category to try products out in. So you may think, oh, but why isn't there anything else from your New York haul in here, or like other products that I've seen? It's just these were the 10 that I feel I really got a good vibe with and that I really wanted to like use again. So, you know, there's a lot of products that you like, but then the ones that really stand out to you are the ones you go back to time and time again. and that's sort of like the criteria I use to select these. So let me know in a comment down below what cheek products you have been loving this year. I would love to know. And yeah, stay tuned because I have one more video in this series coming for you, which I'm going to be recording right after I press stop on my camera, and that's going to be eyeshadow palette favorites, which we all know is my favorite thing. So that's going to be probably a bit longer than the ones that I've been filming in the past couple of days and that I've been posting. I'm filming all of these back to back, by the way, if you're wondering, because I thought it would be easiest. And yeah, it's just 2019 was a good year for makeup, you guys, so stay tuned if you'd like to see that eyeshadow palette video. I will make sure to link the lipstick and the base video in the description box down below if you still would like to see those. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will be back on the last day of the year with my eyeshadow palette favorites, so stay tuned for that. Bye!